I'm with Steve Miller, who's worked on the docks a very long time. Hi, Steve.
Hi there. Hi, Jolly.
So the docks, I think, are a very iconic landmark that have it's sort of been celebrated because of its history, really. And it's actually given a lot of people housing and jobs. How long have you worked on the docks?
Well, I've worked on the docks in its present form all my working life. I mean, my family goes back since before the docks were built. You know, my family's association with the docks goes back an awfully long way. I work at the marina, which is where the leisure boats and for leisure boating at the west end of the dock. And my father started the company just after the docks closed. The docks closed as a commercial port in 1981. And immediately after that, the town of Preston was asking itself what to do with the docks, and lots of suggestions were put forward, and that could be an awfully long history lesson which we haven't really got time for now. But the upshot of it, to answer your question, is my dad started a company in 1986 to create and run the marina, which is what we still do here in 2017.
Oh wow, that's incredible. So you have a little shop as well and a cafe on the marina.
That's right, yeah. The marina has lots of departments, and we have a very popular little cafe and a shop selling boaty things and non-boaty things as well. But we also sell boats, and we do training for people who want to learn about boats. So yeah, anything to do with leisure boating, that's what we do here at Preston Marina.
It's really cool, actually.
Thank you.
It's brought a lot of other stuff in. I've seen a scuba diving instruction little shop on the other side.
That's right. They've been there a long time. That's called Slater's, and they're based in one of the old mill buildings on Watery Lane near the docks. They've been there an awful long, probably since before we were actually as well. Yeah.
It's got a lot of history. That's really cool. Would you say working on the docks has changed your lifestyle?
Well, I don't know any other life, so I can't. It's a hard one to answer because it's been my lifestyle. It's been my employment all my working life, and since before I was working. You know, as a kid, I would always come down to the docks with my father. And when we started the company, and I was very young, I was 12 when we started the company, but I was still here at weekends and holidays sweeping the floor. So it's the only life I know. So it hasn't changed it; it's defined it.
From what I've got so far, could you say that it's very hard-working but laid back at the same time compared to people living directly in the city, where it's a bit more, you know?
Well, you'd have to ask a lot of people. Different people will have a different answer to that. I don't live on the docks. I live quite close to the docks, just up the road, but I don't live on the docks. But yes, I can imagine that it's a nice place to live, being by the water. One thing about Preston Docks that I've noticed is whenever you see art magazine articles about Preston, or if you go into many of the public buildings around Preston, they often show a big picture of the docks. Preston is obviously proud of the docks, and rightly so, because not many northern towns have any sort of connection with the sea or a docks. So it is part of what makes Preston different and unique. And so yes, I can imagine living here by the water is certainly makes a nice change from, just as you say, living in the city centre. I would quite like to live here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So would I think it's nice and laid back.
Yeah.
I think the people are. It's quite a small area, and there's a lot of housing around the back, so it's quite nicely. I don't know. It's a nice little community.
Yes, it is.
I think it's quite nice.
Yeah.
Are the people on the docks different to other people in Preston? It's quite a similar question.
I don't think they're different. We're all Prestonians. If we live in Preston, I don't think they're particularly different. If they've chosen to live here, they obviously appreciate being by the water, and I like people that like water, so they're all right with me.
What's your earliest memory on the docks?
Of the docks?
Yeah.
I think probably my earliest memories of the docks, when we were a very young family, when I was very little, every New Year's Eve, we would open the front door of our house, because I say we live very close to the docks. We don't actually live on the docks, but we live extremely close. There weren't houses on the docks when we were very young, but we would open the front door at midnight of our house, and all of the ship's horns, all of the ship's whistles would be hooting away to mark in the new year. And so that's probably my earliest memory, is those very early New Year's Eves, listening to all the ship's whistles. This is long before the docks were a marina like they are now. This is when the ships were in the late 70s. So yeah, that's my earliest memory, is the ship's whistles at New Year's Eve.
That's incredible. In my research, I saw there's a light show a few years back. What was that?
Yeah, that's right, there was. I'm trying to remember what it was for, but there were a set of laser lights that were set up down at the east end of the dock. There's a big insurance building. Is that right? No. There was. It is a few years ago, but I forget the details of exactly where the lasers were. And they shone. I think it was 5 coloured lights, which could be seen over the city of Preston, and it was promoting. I wish I'd researched this one. I can't remember what it was. It was promoting an event. I think it was to do with an Easter production of The Passion, which happened at the bus station in Preston, and it was in the run up to that, something along those lines. It was a promotional thing, and yeah, I mean, it was. It just sort of came up out of nowhere, and these lights shone over Preston for a few days, about a week, and they were centred here on the docks. Yeah,
that's really charming. Thank you so much.
You're welcome
for talking to me.